like he's got a whole giant book of stuff. So he's ready to roll here. So here you go, guys.
Okay, he's really pushing me along with these interviews. So thank you so much, Tim Ritchie and Dawn Piner. Is that correct?
Yes. Correct.
And you guys are from March Against Mosaic. I want to welcome you to the show and thank you for coming on down.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yes. And so you, Tim, are the founder, organizer, and host of March Against Mosaic.
Yes.
And you are, I didn't get your
I
title?
am Dawn Piner. I'm public relations for March Against Mosaic.
Okay. And so first, for those in our audience who don't know or not aware, what or who is Mosaic and why have you organized marches against them? And let's start with that. You're going to have to hold that real close.
Well, Mosaic is a phosphate mining company. And for me, it all began last year on July 24th, 2018, when DeSoto County's BOCC had a meeting because Mosaic wants to rezone over 18,000 acres of agricultural land into extraction.
Okay.
And I thought I would be home about 7 p.m. I didn't get home till 11:30 that night.
Wow.
And then we came back the next day for July 25th when DeSoto County's BOCC were basically the heroes in the world because it was the shot that was heard around the world in the phosphate mining industry that DeSoto County's BOCC denied and said no to Mosaic.
And that was just this past July?
Yes, and now they're on April 3rd, on 2019, they will be starting their mediation publicly out in DeSoto County. And, but for me, what happened is I realized at that moment on the July 24th, there's a serious problem. I did not know anything about Mosaic. I've been here in Florida for over 11 years, and I thought they were just some company doing oranges on TV and stuff like that.
Right.
Very misinformed.
Yep.
And what I found out in time, because I have now spent my whole life since July 24th, I wish we could go back, but we can't.
Right.
I've really started doing some in-depth studies about, the water and what is in these gyp stacks and what are in these CSAs, which are clay settling areas. And there's some very bad stuff out there. And, for instance, I'd like to share this with you.
Absolutely. So he's got some pictures that he brought with us today. And while you're finding that picture, I will also say to you that until I had this interview, kind of queued up for me, I was not aware of Mosaic either. I know that now they are the world's largest marketer and producer and of the phosphates. And that's used in fertilizer. And they're a worldwide company. They're not just, but their phosphate home base is here in Florida.
Yes, they own over 290,000 acres in Florida, and they have roughly mined over half of those currently. I'd like to share this with you.
Absolutely.
Okay. This is very important. Despite the fact that Mosaic discharges known toxins into the Peace River and into the Myakka River that flows into the Peace River, Manatee County approved a rezone of land last year from AG to extraction, which includes allowing mining in the Peace River and Myakka River watersheds. And in July, issued Mosaic a 5-year operating permit, knowing that these toxins will end up in the drinking water of 3 counties. Now, I want to share this with you. This was on Mosaic's Manatee proposal. It included ammonia, sodium hydroxide, fluorosilic acid, phosphogypsum, sodium hypochlorite, sulfur, sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, and sulfuric acid, just to name a few. I don't want to go down the list, but those are pretty bad. Now, Mosaic discharges into the Althea and the Manatee rivers are polluting north near Tampa Bay. And their discharges into the Myakka and Peace rivers are polluting Charlotte Harbor. Add to that their discharges into the Kissimmee River that flows south into Lake O and are released through Caloosahatchee, and you get destruction of our ocean floor and death of our sea life along the entire coast of Florida. For these reasons, I have requested weekly testing of the Peace River. And I've asked that it be tested with a group no way associated or affiliated with Moat Marine, Mosaic, CNEP. And I request that we have alpha and gamma radiation testing along with these chemicals I just mentioned, because until you fly over a Mosaic phosphate mining site,
Right.
until you, I don't know if you can see that,
Kind of hard to see.
but that's the New Wales gyp stack. And that's at about 1,400 feet in the sky. And when I first saw that, I was in shock. It took me about 2 months to digest. This is a Mosaic drag line destroying and polluting Florida.
Now, let me ask you, when you requested, who did you request the water testing? Like, who did you ask for that to be done? The state or?
Well, I requested it from the DeSoto County BOCC and the Peace River Manatee Water Board Authority. And I did that on December 5th of 2018.
And were they in agreement to do that?
No, I never heard back from him. And now we're starting our campaign to start writing them.
Okay.
Because, excuse me, it's very hard to believe where this has all come.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know what was going to happen after March Against Mosaic Part 1, which was pretty amazing. I have to tell you, Chris Brisby was there live for Truth Media. We had over 20,000 views, and I really believe we brought a lot of awareness.
And when was the first march? When?
That was Saturday, December 1st, 2018.
Okay.
And now we're headed up after here today. Don and I are going to Sarasota for March Against Mosaic Part 6.
And then Part 7 is going to be here March 23rd from 10 to 1 at the Fort Myers Beach Pier.
Correct.
And how many people have been showing up at these marches, do you estimate?
Well, at the first march, we had over 450 people.
Good.
The second march, we had about 200 people. And the third march, we had about maybe 65 people. But that was the one that really brought our attention. Dawn does a fantastic job. She had just had her come aboard with us maybe 2 weeks prior to that. And she has been to all the events. I met her at CNEP when I was there with Vic Chabra, and then I had a farmers market educational thing in Punta Gorda. She came and has been to all the events, and she's been following more of the spraying issue, and it just all kind of came together. But she got Alex Howard of Channel 2, and Alex came down and did a great spot on us, and that ran Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday morning. And I have to tell you, right after it aired on Saturday night, Mosaic started a blitzkrieg campaign of how they do reclamation of land and blah, blah, blah. And
yes, I was on their website, and they do, it's quite a nice website because I'm sure it's well funded, but they do have information up there for people to check out both sides, and you can see what they're saying that they're doing, and they're you know, what they're trying to do to fix things and going forward to not. Yes, go ahead.
They have mentioned that they are providing new streams and rivers that haven't been there in over a century. What they failed to mention in their ads is that they have not been there because they destroyed the land, decimated it. Hasn't been available to have any streams on it. They did this with their phosphate mining. It has been too toxic to do anything with. So this is why now they're providing these streams and rivers that didn't exist before. If you look at Stream Song Resort, go on their website, it looks like their golf course is a place out of Arizona.
Wow.
All the colors, the browns and the greens and the neon green. And I mean, this is not natural. This is reclaimed land, and they've owned it for about 50 years, I believe. And this is what it still looks like.
And you know what? I'll extend this. Richard Suisse, or no, Russell, excuse me. He didn't have that big of an impact, but Russell Suisse of Mosaic and Jock O'Rourke, the CEO of Mosaic. How about we all go out and camp out there for 7 days in a tent? We're going to go camp out on some of that reclaimed land. We'll get a bunch of us. We can get the governor to come. We can get some of our reps.
Have a great view of a gyp stack.
And get some of the BOCC members from Hardy County to come out on this camp out. And I mean a good 7 days. Nobody gets to leave. We're going to stay there for 7 days. And let's get a reading of radiation of our blood test in our body. And then let's get one 7 days after.
Pre and post.
Yeah. So that's open invitation.
The invitation has been extended to those that you have mentioned. Now, your group, is it a 501(c)(3)? Is it just a group of individuals? Or do you have any funding that you guys use to perpetuate?
No, it's just Dawn and me. We're a people's movement.
Just a public group.
Yeah. And we don't do any funding. Our funding is from ourselves.
Okay.
And
you give of your time and your money, and all your efforts have been directed at this since July
24th. Yes. And we're not going to be raising any money.
Okay.
Because that's the difference between March Against Mosaic and many other groups.
Okay.
What we do is we post and we say, we're coming here, come bring some signs, voice visual awareness and displeasures. We don't ever get real loud.
Right.
But we're more about, like, for instance, you know, this. That's okay. This here is a big clay settling area. You see all that big green? That's cyanobacteria, gang. So when I said earlier that this cyanobacteria, it's almost like it's being harvested out there. You have to think these clay settling areas are 20 to 40 feet high. Some are 500 to 1,000 acres in circumference. And they're just sitting out there with all those heavy metals, the acidic radioactive wastewater cooking in the Florida sun. If you all go to Google Earth, put in Mosaic Bartow, or better yet, put in Mosaic Ona, O-A-N, and look for these big, giant, square
O-N-A
lakes. And I got to tell you, those aren't for fishing or diving or any fun activity, no water skiing. Those are going to be there hundreds and hundreds of years, folks.
Right.
And what lately Dawn and I have really been talking about and have come up with, and after being at the conference the other day.
What conference was that?
The biological conference at FGCU.
Okay.
For biological diversity.
We had, after the big meeting, there was group meetings, and Attorney Jackie Lopez was there, and we were talking. John Cassani was there from Calusa Waterkeepers. And, you know, I've come up with a thought, and this is this. What I'd like to see our government do, and Mosaic, I would like to see them start with closing down the Bartow South gyp stack. And the reason for that is I photographed that on November 29th of 2018. And I told you we identified a 6-inch wide crack, 100 feet long. In that story, they came out and they said it happened. But you see, by like December 20th, this whole pool was empty. And my thing is this, and I know, I've read reports, we have them, they're Mosaic reports. It's very toxic. This place needs to be shut down. I'd also like to see them go to New Wales gyp stack. I showed you that picture on here earlier. They need to shut that down. They're very old and they're decaying. And what they need to do now is they need to maintain these. They don't need to put any more phosphogypsum on top, and because for every 1 ton of phosphate they produce good, they produce 5 tons of phosphogypsum waste, and it's very toxic stuff. And then I'd like to see him do one more thing. I'd like to see him go and shut down Lithia. Now, if they could do 1 or 2 of these facilities, it would be really incredible, because it would show the people in Florida that Mosaic knows they've been bad environmental stewards. In 2016, they were fined $2 billion.
Yes.
And that is because of facilities right up the street here at Mosaic and in Louisiana.
Right. 6 in Florida and 2 in Louisiana.
Correct. And do you know, 1 month after that, the Mulberry sinkhole happened, and they estimate 215 million gallons dumped into the Florida aquifer.
Yep.
That means it burned through the limestone. And nobody was notified for 18 or 19 days. And you know what? The public, we deserve better.
Well, and I will say that they have since published that they have filled that sinkhole, and they have done, on their website, they list the water testings that they have done. So all of that information from what Mosaic has done is on there. I know I was looking on Facebook, and there was some people that I was following on your Facebook page and Clean Water Now Facebook page, and they talked about some recent testing that they did. And everything was clean except here in Fort Myers, where there was some cyanobacteria, and it was a type of which has not ever been documented in Florida. In addition to that, there was a lot of microplastic. And so even though this area has adopted a no plastic straw ban, a ban on plastic straws, there's still an issue with people bringing plastic bags and plastic bottles. So that information, if anyone wants to follow up, was at Clean Water Now. So Michelle, yep, Lester was the one. Yep.
And she's calling for another level of testing, especially
right. We need more.
Microplastics.
Correct. So there's a lot of issues, and I'm glad that you brought this information to the forefront so that people can go to your Facebook page. They can look on that. They can look. There's been some articles in the Tampa Tribune from October 2015 about the fine. They can go to the Mosaic website and they can look at what they have to say and compare and contrast to what's going on. I do not think I will accept your invitation to go on a camping trip with you all there, however. Was there something else you wanted to say?
Yeah, I think Mosaic really needs to get on the ball with taking account of the fact that they're using our clean water, blending it is the process they call it, and dumping it into all of the waterways that is our drinking and bathing water.
Right.
This needs to stop also.
Right. Using our water to sort of dilute.
Clean water, their solution to pollution is dilution in this state, and it's becoming ridiculous.
That's a good one.
I'll leave you with this.
Okay.
Mosaic is using a lot of fresh drinking and bathing water every day.
70 million gallons a day.
That's just one permit. And we really need to get an outside source that will test Mosaic. You see, Mosaic test all their outfall ponds themselves. FDEP needs to give them a 24-hour notice before they come to test. This needs to change. And what I'd really love to see is you guys work on closing Bartow South and Bartow North. And we want a real comprehensive cleanup plan. And we don't want the dumping in the rivers anymore. We want, matter of fact, we want you to, whatever you've been granted to mine, I don't even want to say it, mine it and no more. There's a petition out right now. Everybody go to our website. You can also go to the Facebook. You can go find it. It's by Jackie Lopez. So we need to sign this. We need to get it to the governor. We need to phase out phosphate mining in the state of Florida, because just because it's been 150 years doesn't mean it's right or should go on. But thank you again so much.
Thank you so much for coming down. Lots of useful information. I want to thank Tim Ritchie and Dawn Piner for coming down, and hopefully we'll see you next Saturday, folks.
Awesome.
For the March Against Mosaic. We'll be here from 10. They will be here from 10 to 1 at the Fort Myers Beach